So let's talk about the NFL. This past week, Jamal Adams has requested a trade from the New York Jets after they failed to reach an agreement on a new contract. We have talked about Jamal Adams before on episode 1, and if you haven't seen that, go check it out. So when Jamal Adams requested a trade from the Jets, he had 8 teams he wanted to go to. Those teams were the Dallas Cowboys, the Baltimore Ravens, the San Francisco 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Seattle Seahawks, the Houston Texans, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A couple days after that, a fan asked him if he's trying to come to the Cowboys, which he responded saying, quote, "I'm trying, bro." So there is a connection between him and Dallas. So what is your best trade proposal for Jamal Adams to the Cowboys?
Well, if I'm looking for a way that it benefits both ways, I'm kind of giving the Cowboys a little bit of a steal, but I feel like it's basically equated. I think what my best trade package was a 2021 second round pick, a 2022 second round pick, a 2022 third round pick, and the Cowboys safety Xavier Woods. You see, the two second rounders make up for the Jets' first round requirement, which they placed on Jamal Adams because he's such a talented player. And to get something back for him, it's probably going to require a first round pick. But I feel like 2 second round picks is plenty for to make up for a first round pick. Then Xavier Woods, I think he's an up and coming safety. You see how he's had 5 career interceptions in his 4 years of playing, and he's improved. He's been improving every year, and some people have even projected him to become a Pro Bowler this year. So I feel like he's definitely someone that's a solid replacement for Jamal Adams because of Jamal Adams' unhappiness in New York. And along with when it comes to the fit, I know they signed safety Clinton Dix earlier in free agency, and while he does play strong safety and Jamal Adams does play strong safety too, I believe Clinton Dix does have the ability and athleticism to move to free safety while Jamal Adams to continue to play strong safety. What do you think? What's your best trade?
I think I don't think you necessarily need to give up Xavier Woods because he's on the last year of his deal, and I think the Jets are looking if they're looking for a player, they're looking for a guy that they can keep for at least 2 more years until they have to pay him. So I think a blueprint of the Cowboys can look at is the Jalen Ramsey trade. I mean, you look at last year when he was unhappy with the Jaguars, he got traded for basically a lot of picks, like about 4 or 5 picks. So I think the Cowboys should do something like that. So I think they should give up a 2021 first round pick, 2022 third round pick, and a 2021 fifth round pick. I think that helps the Jets because they get a first round pick in return, and the Cowboys are going to be good this year. So that can be a late 20s pick. So I think the Jets are okay with that, and they also get a third round pick for next year and a fifth round pick, which it's not worth much, but I think if the Jets want to give up Jamal Adams and make him happy, I think that's you have to do that trade because the longer you wait, the quality of the trade won't be good, and I think you won't get as much pieces as you really wanted. So I think if the Jets want to trade him, they're going to have to trade him as soon as possible before the season starts. And like you said, they're not. I don't think the Cowboys want to really give up Xavier Woods because he's a guy that's on the last year of his deal, and they don't have players that can play the free safety. They've signed Clinton Dix and um, Xavier Woods, but those are players that can play free safety while Jamal Adams can play strong safety. So if you trade those players, I don't know who you really want as your free safety. And I know the Jets wanted players like Michael Gallup or Blake Jarwin, but I don't think they're willing to give up those young players either because they're very young and they can develop into Pro Bowlers.
Well, simply put, I would disagree with you. I don't think they should give a first round pick, a third round pick, and a fifth round pick. You see the 2 second round picks that they have. Just like you said, the Cowboys will be good this year, and because of their talent and how good they'll do, those second round picks, they're basically giving up 3 third round picks because of the 1 third round pick that they're already giving up. and the 2 second-round picks will be super late in the draft. So basically, in my draft, they're giving up. They're in my trade. They're giving up thir- 3 third-round picks and a safety in Xavier Woods. And I really do think that they should give up Xavier Woods because, like I said, Clinton Dix actually has played free safety in nickel packages in his NFL career. So he has experience with that, and he can play it very well. And I feel like the Xavier Woods situation is somewhat like the D'Angelo Russell situation for the Golden State Warriors last year. Xavier Woods is not good enough to start over Clinton Dix and Jamal Adams, but he's not bad enough to be benched. So because of that reason, I feel like he should be shipped away if they want to get Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I don't really agree with you because you said those second round picks are basically third round picks, and I don't think the Jets will really accept that because you're trading a guy that was a first round pick in Jamal Adams for three for like you said three third round picks. So I don't think the Jets are getting enough value there. So I think if you give up a first, which is a late first, or you can consider it an early second, I think that helps the Jets because they can get a guy like Jamal Adams, like not they're not gonna get a guy exactly like Jamal Adams, but they can get a guy that they can develop into a Pro Bowler, and he can become a very good player. And with the third round pick and the fifth round pick, you can if you scout properly, you can get a good player as you've seen in drafts before. Players like Dak Prescott and Antonio Brown, they've fallen all the way down to those late, like fifth or sixth round uh, draft slots. So I think you can still draft a good player in those late rounds.
I get your point, but the problem is the Jets don't draft too good. I mean, you've seen their history. They've made a lot of bad selections and a lot of busts, and because of that, I don't feel like they should take those third and fifth round picks because I feel like it'll be a waste of a pick. And the thing about second round picks is they're kind of a mystery because you don't really know how good your team's going to do. You saw the Cowboys how like in their rookie years, Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott led the Cowboys to a 13-3 record, the top of the NFC. But look what happened this last year; they went 8-8, and so it really in football it really is a mystery because anything can change like that, and it's so quick. There's so many changes. That's why you don't see Super Bowl teams being dynasties for too long because so many things change in the NFL very quickly, unlike the NBA. And for that reason, I feel like the second round picks, you never know what it could be. I feel like the Jets would take the risk of taking those 2 second round picks. And what's even better for the Cowboys is that if if the Jets take a long time to trade Jamal Adams, the value of the trade, like you said, will only go down. And because of that, I feel like since the Jets will be hesitant for these first couple of weeks, the value will go down, and because of that, their asking price will go down, and that means they'll be able to get my deal done.
Yeah. So like I mentioned before, Jamal Adams has 8 teams on his mind that he would like to be traded to, and we just talked about the Cowboys. So which other 7 teams are the best fit for Jamal Adams?
Well, I think there are 2 teams who have the best fit for Jamal Adams. I think it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers. You see, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a very good front seven with Shaquille Barrett, who had 19.5 sacks last year, Jason Pierre-Paul, Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Devin White, Levante David, and so many more. They have a lot of good pieces in those D line and linebacker units, but that's not exactly the case for their secondary. You look at their cornerbacks, their safeties. There's not really anyone you can recognize right off the bat other than Antoine Winfield Jr. And he's the up and coming safety, and has the athleticism and talent to switch to free safety. And I feel like he's still improving, and he will be the problem solver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I feel like if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers do get Jamal Adams, they will be a very, very scary team. And I feel like it's a similar situation with the 49ers. Their front seven is elite with Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Arik Armstead, D Ford, Fred Warner, Quan Alexander, so many others. And not only that, they also have a quality cornerback group. You're looking at Richard Sherman, Akila Witherspoon, Emmanuel Mosley, and a couple more. And I feel like of all these positions, there's really only one need they have: strong safety. And if if they can find a good safety, strong safety, aka Jamal Adams, their defense could be pushed over to the top, and they could very likely win the Super Bowl next year. The cap situation would be tough to navigate, but I feel like John Lynch and his group of staff members could do a very good job with the cap, and eventually, like I said, it could lead to them winning to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think those were very good points. But let's be honest about Jamal Adams going to the Buccaneers. I think he just wants to get a ring because the Buccaneers are already super stacked. They signed Tom Brady, they got Gronk, and they have Mike Evans. So, and they have a really good team. So I think him going to the Buccaneers is just him trying to get a ring next season. But I think a team that really needs him is the Philadelphia Eagles. They need a safety, and that could be Jamal Adams. And I think he can make that team good because Carson Wentz hasn't been good, and they drafted Jalen Hurts, who's a guy. If you look at the Eagles' history, I think backup quarterbacks have been better than Carson Wentz. So I think having Jalen Hurts is good for the team, and they could possibly, like a couple years back, they could possibly win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they can next year, but they can get to the playoffs possibly. But I don't think they will get to the Super Bowl. But another team, I mentioned this before, is the Houston Texans. They have cap space, but they also need to pay him in the future and Deshaun Watson. So they they have to manage that properly, and I don't know if they want to go all in for him, and I don't know if they want to trade with Bill O'Brien as your GM and coach. So I don't know if that's if you're the Texans, you want to trade for him. But another team he can go to and have a lot of immediate impact is the Ravens. They can become a Super Bowl team next year, and they could possibly become a really good team for the next 2 years or so because they have Lamar Jackson and they have really good players. So I think Jamal Adams really, I think all the teams that he mentioned are the best teams he could go to. But like you mentioned, all our teams are, I think, the best ones for him.
I agree with some of your points. I don't think that I think the Eagles definitely do need a playmaker at safety after cutting Malcolm Jenkins, and but I don't think the trade situation will work out with how Joe Douglas and Howie Roseman have been working to get working recently. Um, for the Ravens, I really, if they do get him, um, they could be the next Legion of Boom. They could do really, really good, and it could definitely push them over the top, just like Jamal Adams would do for a lot of other teams. They'd get another leader on defense along with Earl Thomas and Marlon Humphrey, but I don't feel like they should focus on their secondary right now. Their secondary is already incredibly elite with two All-Pros at cornerbacks in Marlon Humphrey and Marcus Peters, and then a Pro Bowl or All-Pro safety and or free safety and Earl Thomas. I think what they should focus more into is their front seven. You see Calais Campbell, you see their first round pick, their linebacker first round pick whose name I forgot just now. I don't know why, but their front seven is not the best in the NFL, and they could definitely improve. They have several key pieces in Matt Judon, Calais Campbell, and that linebacker whose name I can't remember. But I feel like they should invest more into that front seven instead of focusing on the secondary. Um, for the Houston Texans, I don't really feel like that's a team that Jamal Adams really wants to go to. Although he did put it in his list of top 8 teams that he wants to go to, I don't think
Yeah,
it's the best fit for him.
yeah, I think he just wants to go there because he is close to his home, which is in Dallas. So it's
Yeah,
not Houston is not that far away. So I think that's why he mentioned the Texans.
yeah, and along with that, I know they have cap space, but I don't think it's worth it for either of the team, either party. I don't think it's worth it for Jamal Adams and the fact that he probably won't win. And knowing Bill O'Brien, I wouldn't be surprised if Deshaun Watson was included in the trade for Jamal Adams.
Yeah,
So that wouldn't be too good for Jamal Adams. But other than that, I definitely see your points.
yeah. We know that Jamal Adams is a game changer for any of the teams he goes to. So I think that's something. The team he goes to is the team can improve a lot.